Hello from Tim and Buddy over at AlphaWolfTrading.com, and welcome to 2018. Coming at you with this week's 5 stocks to watch for trading investing. Going to start off the new year with a couple of themes, a few stocks that I like in a few different sectors. Buddy's super excited about this. Very, very excited about this. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get right into it. You want to say anything? Huh? You got anything you want to say to these? No? All right. He wishes you a happy and prosperous new year. All right. So let's get right into this. Hold on 1 second here. Okay. So actually, this is not one of the stocks. This is one I want to talk about with the pro members. So let's go ahead and start out with the very first stock in my list of stocks to watch, and that is TMQ. Now, this could qualify as a penny stock. Actually, this is one that's got my interest because of the copper sector. Now, copper has had a very big run recently, and I wouldn't be shocked if we were to see a little bit of a pause or a pullback. But this is consolidating really, really well. Just had the CEO pick up 1.1 million shares at 83 cents. So my thinking on TMQ, and this could be more of a swing, or it could be a day trading opportunity if you get some significant volume coming in. But on a pullback to $1, 95 cents, even down to 85 cents, 86 cents, the 200-day moving average. You could find some support in that area. You know that the CEO picked up 1.1 million shares at 83 cents, and you know that copper has been pretty hot. And I think if we start to see inflationary pressures next year and we continue to see copper rise, TMQ could benefit from that. So I do think this is one worth having on your radar for a potential swing, long-term hold, or day trading opportunity with significant volume. Next one on the list, PSEC. So now PSEC is another one that has had significant insider buying in the 7 and change range. Now, this is more of a dividend play. I think this is more of a long-term hold consideration. I think what you do, though, is you look for this to pull back to the $6.50 range, which then you're buying below where the insiders have been buying at 7 and above. And you look for price appreciation as well as collecting the dividend. So I think it's a good play for a long-term hold IRA type play on weakness. Pull back to weakness, potential support for a bounce. Then you look for price appreciation as well as collecting the dividend. But this one is definitely worth having on your radar for 2018. All right, now I'm going to switch themes a little bit over into another sector that has my attention for next year, and that is the cannabis space. Now, listen, it's had a big move already into anticipation of California legalizing recreational marijuana sales. And this sector could see as kind of a sell the news event. A lot of these stocks have had big moves already, and you could see some capital raising happening right after you get these big moves. These companies that don't generate any profit but burn through a lot of cash, they're going to use these opportunities to raise cash. So you could wind up seeing, some dilution and stuff like that happening. But I believe that is a short-term issue, and that provides these companies with the cash to grow their businesses. And I think, they're going to be booming businesses. And there's a lot of sketchy stuff out there. You got to be careful. Don't buy just anything with cannabis attached to the name. Do your research and recognize that these things are lottery tickets. The feds could come in and shut down the whole thing tomorrow, And that would be problematic for a lot of these companies. So keep that in mind. High risk, but potentially high reward. Now, here's a name that actually is kind of involved in the cannabis space. I think as the opioid epidemic becomes more and more prevalent, you've got these big biotech companies, these big companies that are going to look at alternative means, and marijuana, cannabinoids, actually play a role there. And Pfizer has a bulletproof balance sheet. They have acquired a couple of companies that I believe are in that space. This is a less risky way to go about playing in the cannabis space. And I think, as things progress forward, Pfizer could be one of those companies that goes out and does some acquisitions in that space. So this is one I think you keep an eye on for a long-term hold, potential investment play. It pays a dividend. Look for this to pull back. I mean, we just broke out. We just kind of had a little flat top breakout here. But, look for maybe it to pull back. If we get a January pullback, right? Let's say the first couple of days we get some good trading, but then we get some kind of a pullback in the markets and you get a pullback in Pfizer. Look, $35, 34 and change, 34.50. There's a really solid area of potential support at the 200-day moving average, right around 34.50. You've got some price support there, and you've got the 200-day that could act as support. I think $34.50 to $33. Pfizer is a very attractive entry spot in that name for a long-term hold position. And if Pfizer were to break below $33, would I panic and sell and take a loss? I wouldn't. I would look at this as a long-term hold and look for other areas of potential support to add to my position, and I would be patient. This is a stock that has 6 billion shares in the float, so it takes a lot to move the stock, but I would welcome any weakness to look to add and build out my position in Pfizer. So one to keep an eye on for 2018 as a kind of sort of a cannabis play. Now here's one that is a true cannabis play, and this has got a really good looking chart. This is not a cheap company. It's only got 41 million shares in the float, 8% short interest. This is Scotts Miracle-Gro. Now they have bought, these guys sell the hardwares, the picks, the shovels, all the stuff for growing cannabis, right? So I think if this company is going to benefit. It's just broke out to, I believe, all-time highs. Let me just take a look at the weekly here on this. Let me go back to the monthly. This is all-time highs. Now that's a beautiful chart. Lower left, upper right, definitely in an upward trend. Just took out, a little flat top. Took out the $100 holler, right? Took out a nice round number. Took out the $100 holler. Now you look for a pullback to what was resistance, potentially act as support, and that would be $100, right? So if it pulls back to 100, maybe you look to take a starter, and if it breaks below 100 and comes down to the 200-day at 95, you look to add. Again, this would be a long-term hold consideration. I think this company is going to continue to benefit from, California, possibly New Jersey, and some other states that could also be looking at legalizing recreational cannabis. So SMG, one to keep. This is one of several stocks that I'm going to be going over with the pro members over here at Alpha Wolf Trading in a little bit for 2018. But I think this space is definitely going to be one to keep an eye on for 2018. All right, next stock on the list in another sector that I think is going to be in play in 2018, and that is NOG. Now, there were several names that I could have put up here that I like that I'll be sharing with the pro members, for 2018, but I think there are several names in the oil and energy space, and if oil continues to stay at the levels that it's at currently, I think these names are going to benefit. I think the sector is going to be in play, and it's been a beaten up sector for a long time, so definitely one to keep an eye on for 2018. NOG just broke out, took out the $2 holler. It is piercing the upper Bollinger Band, and it is overbought. There are a lot of good looking charts in this space, and you could be looking at trend reversals for many of them. So this is one that I happen to like. I'm thinking maybe on a pullback to a buck 72, even the pullback to a buck 50, buck 45 could be an ideal entry spot. Higher risk swing potentially, 48 million shares in the float, 15% short interest. You got a potential golden cross about to happen with the 50 looking to cross over the 200-day moving average. And I like the way this broke above the 200-day, consolidated, and now we're starting to grind higher. But let's see if we check back to this area of 150 and find support there for a bounce. Could be one to keep an eye on. And then I'm going to end this with the very last penny play. I got to give everybody a penny play. Full disclosure, I own this. I've been in it for from 19 cents, 18, 19 cents or so. These guys just announced that they are going to be open for business as of today to sell recreational cannabis in California. They also have some locations here in Nevada. I've spoke with the CEO of this company for about 45 minutes. Impressed with this guy's knowledge and impressed with the operation that they had here. I do not smoke marijuana, just full disclosure, but I do see the investment opportunity there, and it is a high risk, I want to reemphasize, high risk, lottery type play, but I think one to keep an eye on. And this is one of the names in the space that I happen to like. This is a penny stock. It does not trade. It changed on the OTC, but I think this one is worth definitely having on your radar. Now this is a little bit extended. Again, I said a lot of these names have run into this news. Could be a sell the news event. The CEO has been restricted from selling or agreed to not sell shares for 1 year, which is a big deal for me. There have been him and a couple other insiders have been relentlessly selling as of late over the last couple of months. That has now come to an end, at least for the next year from the CEO, and I think that's very important. Now, they also have a proposal out there to do a potential reverse split within the next year, another thing to keep in mind. But I do think TRTC is one to keep a look at, and if it pulls back to 28 cents, 25 cents, maybe that is the spot that you look to take a starter. And that's it. This could be in play next week. We'll see how it reacts to being one of the few locations in California that is able to sell recreational marijuana. Could get a nice pop next week, but like I said, it's getting extended. Don't get too greedy with this, right? So maybe it goes a red to green. You get a pullback to 30 cents. It goes up to 50 cents. You take you take some profit. Maybe you hold some lottos, and that's it. Listen. I really hope this is a fantastic, wonderful, tremendous new year for you. I hope you achieve a lot of goals and dreams, and that's it.